Very soon, classes will start, and students from all over the nation will cry with one voice saying, "Today is my Independence Day." Independence. That word will have new meaning for all of us because we will be getting our degree from Independence University online. No longer will we say, "I can't be there, I have class." We will no longer struggle for parking spots or be required to wear clothes while taking a test. Because if there's one thing Independence University Online offers us, it's our independence. Our bachelor's degree is a mere 36 months away, and on that day, we will celebrate a new era of confidence, where the job challenge may become nurses, businessmen, and graphic artists, when dead-end jobs may become careers. Thanks to Independence University, today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Choose Independence University Online for a better life offline. Classes start every month. Call 800-979-8210, 800-979-8210, or visit independence.edu.
Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Fort Bragg's backyard, this is the show that put the 110 Nation on the map. There is only one nation, the 110 Nation, and you're listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show, covering each and every sport across the board. There is no sport too large or too little. It's time to talk the talk. Here we go. Here's the man, the founder, and your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at DJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Make sure you check us out on Facebook. My personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also, check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com. And also check out our company site, www.the110nation.com, for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. Do us a favor. If you've not liked our fan page, go over and like our fan page for us. April 15th, I got a little less than a month ago, and I'm going to end up posting this and on our fan page to kind of promote this. But April 15th is our 5-year anniversary, and it would be really nice for our five-year anniversary date if we could have 1,000 likes. Now, right now we're about 823, and so we need quite a few a day for the next month. But it would be really cool if we could have 1,000 likes by the time we hit our 5-year mark. And honestly, we're not doing too bad when you go into take into consideration. I have a little over 1,000 likes, and that was the original fan page for the whole company, and that was before it became the 110 Nation. There for a while, it was just CJ Sports, and so. I had 1,000. I think I even had a little bit more than that. I just lost them because I don't do a lot on that one. But originally, that's what we started off as, and then actually, honestly, went to having individual pages for all our sports and had individual sites. Before then, we opened up one more, actually two more fan pages. One for the radio side of the house, one for the site side of the house, and then we end up combining those two accounts, and that's where we're at now. So, I mean, honestly, it's a lot of why we're just where we're at has a lot to do with a lot of changes we've made over 5 years, and it is so hard to believe this has been 5 years in the making. April 15, 2011, just like it was yesterday, learned a lot, and made a lot of mistakes. That we've started over, probably a good 5 times. I think once a year we manage to start over, just changing sites, changing company names, or merging with companies, and then separating from companies. There were just a lot of things. It was a trial and error. It wasn't until last year when we created the LLC, and I think we're coming up about 1 year exact at this point. But it was a year ago when we created the LLC that we made it official that this is what this company is going to be called. There's not going to be any changes, and no changes. This was it permanently, and so and that's where we started later on combining the Facebook pages and really focused on the 110 Nation itself to being that. So I'm not going to complain where we're at. I guess just like every other company, about 5 years, I would visualize it a lot more likes. But honestly, as many times as we have restarted over and had new fan pages and had new sites and with different companies and changed everything over, then had a restart. Everything we have done, I will take essentially 800 likes over the last year, and but in all actuality, this started 5 years ago, April 15th, and I think I accidentally I said 2000. Okay, I think for some reason I might have said April 11th, but the first time around. But yeah, April 15th, 2011, 5 years, and it just would be really cool if everybody out there listening to the show. Anybody checks out the blog site and catches the show while you're over at the blog site. Any of those listening to us on the I-95 Sports Radio Network tomorrow. Anybody that catches us on Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, no matter how you catch the show, help us celebrate 5 years. That's pretty remarkable if you are a fan of podcasts and blogs and everything else. Think about how many podcast shows you've listened to. Think about how many blog sites you've gone. Now think about how many has actually been around for a long time. We've 5 years. That's pretty remarkable, especially since this has been all out of pocket. And even last year, which was my lowest year that I put money into this company, I was shocked when I was turning in my numbers for taxes how much money was actually invested into this company once again last year. And to know this was my lightest year, and to know that we were getting close to double digits in the thousands there, counting all the rent-a-cars, all the trips we made, the VIP events, the sites, the platforms for all the everything that goes into what we do. It's pretty remarkable. Not too many people stick around for 5 years, especially if they don't have any kind of financial support for when it comes to doing this. And to even know that there's not too many teams of people that stick around that long without any kind of support and any kind of backing. And so not only am I doing this, but I'm doing this alone when it comes to the financial aspect of it. And I got to say, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but it's pretty remarkable because there's not too many people out there that invest that kind of time and that kind of money for that long. And I tell you what, this is definitely something that we're not planning on stopping anytime soon. Even if this is the best that it gets, we're going to keep doing this, and there's no stopping that. This is our opportunity, 2 hours a night. Don't matter if it's me by myself here in the 110 Nation Sports Show, and I see my special guest is in the studio. And I get you on here just 1 second. It don't matter if it's Steve Billmeyer in the Thursday night show, Racing with Big Sweat at 9 p.m. Try to plug that. It don't matter if it's Damian Dean and Chris Yellow Caution Flag Creighton on Sunday nights, 9 p.m., the Dirt Talk Hour. It don't matter if it's Shannon Marine with the Happy Hour Garage, and we rebroadcast their shows on Saturday afternoon. is our opportunity to just get away from the world and opportunity to get away from the world. And there's no other place we would rather be. This is kind of our escape. When I have guests on, ask them what they do in the middle of the week to get away and kind of recharge themselves from life. This is what we do. This is not getting. We're not stopping this anytime soon. Getting messages from everybody. Got that, Miss Lee. I don't know if you're actually listening in or just messaging me right now. You might even message me from work. I'm not actually 100% sure, but I got you. It's all me tonight. Without any further delay, let me get my special guest on right here. She's messaged me as well, so put me on right now. Shorty's in the studio. How you doing tonight?
I'm a little offended.
You're a little offended.
You said that.
That's because
Yeah.
you're only 4'11", so you can only be a little bit of anything.
Oh, so you were like, you said that you were financially supporting this all by yourself, and it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit.
A little bit. Maybe you gave a little money, but when I'm referencing, I'm referencing the fact that there's not two investors that for 5 years there's been pretty much all me. It's been about 75% of what's been spent over the last 5 years. At least 75% has been me. So that's kind of what I'm referencing. That's kind of what I'm referencing.
Oh no, I understand that. I just was, a little offended by you said that this year you spent more than any other year.
No, I spent less than any other year, which it just makes me feel how much. Yeah, less. This was the least amount of any year that I've spent money into this, but it was still when I had to turn those numbers into the tax lady, I was still like, wow, But you also got to fix that includes, the fact that me and you went to Kentucky, we went to Miami Homestead for those races, and it seemed like there was another race or two in that year that I went as well, and then the VIP event for the Chip Ganassi, and the rental cars and the hotels, and just that aspect. Not to include the site cost, the domain cost, the host cost, everything I got thrown in there. Once I started figuring the LLC cost, that was a good chunk right there, paying for the LLC and everything that it cost to maintain the fees and everything. So yeah, it was still rather shocking how much. And like I said, that's what kind of, I guess is what's impressive about why we're still here. We're getting an opportunity here in just under a month to be able to celebrate 5 years, because not too many people, once they realize this is not a get-rich scheme project, because most of them, that's what they get into this stuff for. They're thinking it's some easy, quick scheme project or project to get rich off of, and that's not what it is. And like I tell everybody, originally this was to supplement income. I went from making quite a good paycheck to basically making nothing. But when I signed up, I had no idea what I was even signing up for. Once I figured out what I was doing, and then once I got to do it, it went from worrying about making an income to where we're at now is what ultimately happened. But a lot of people, once they figure that this is not some quick rich program, that this is something you got to spend a lot of time and invest a lot of money into. A lot of them go ahead and chip, and I've had many companies and sites and shows that I've become friends with, and I want to say in 5 years, I think there's one show at one company that I'm still in touch with that was starting the same time I was starting. So they've been in it for 5 years. They do really well for themselves. They had their stuff together from day one. It took me 5 years of learning a lot of things to get where we're at now. Everybody else is kind of come and gone. There's a couple that I'm still in talks with. GMB Sports, we're actually in talks right now to possibly do some basically that scratch your back, you scratch my back kind of project. We'll see where that goes. They came in about 2 years ago, so they're fairly new. But there's not too many that they go at it for as long as we've been going at it, and without any significant backing or endorsements or whatever the case may be. So it's been a fun ride. I like to see where we're at 5 years, and I'd like to see where we are in 10 years, and looking forward to it. But I just want everybody to share this and go like our fan page. I would love to start off the beginning of my 5th year with 1,000 likes. That just would be really cool for me. So, but anyway, we got a few topics to talk about tonight. Gonna pull up a couple more stories as we got Shorty for a little bit. We don't get her for too long. She said that she wanted to talk a little bit, but she didn't want to talk too long. She didn't want to be bored by me. But I did find a couple of stories that I thought was rather interesting. The first one that I found to be rather interesting is the Vikings' new stadium has one big problem, and the city won't fix it. And I find this humorous. Very, very.
No quarterback?
No. We were talking about that yesterday, and I'm going to bring up a little bit about that again with the information that you told me before the show. But the Vikings' worst nightmare, and for those that don't got their thinking caps on right now, the NFC North consists of the Minnesota Vikings, the Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions, and the Chicago Bears. So yes, their 3 NFC rivals would be the Packers, the Bears, and the Lions. What makes this very, very humorous to me is the Vikings' worst nightmare is about to come true when the team's new stadium opens up for the 2016 season. It's going to be located on Chicago Avenue. How does the city allow this to happen? How is the city, the street that your brand new Minnesota Vikings stadium is on, is named the same name as one of your NFC North rivals, the Chicago Bears? Oh, that to me is humorous. So what even makes it more humorous is the city had the opportunity to fix this. The Vikings were hoping to get a name change approved this month, but the Minneapolis City Planning Commission shot the idea down this week. I want to know how many of this 10-person commission they unanimously voted against the team's proposal. I want to know how many of these are Chicago Bears fans, because I can't see any of these guys actually being dedicated to their city and being a Viking fan, being from Minnesota, and not saying, you know what, yes, we need to change the street name. They wanted to change it the Vikings way. And they've done it in the past. 2010, they changed the road that ran by where the Minnesota Twins was to Twins Way. So if you were in a state, say you were a Carolina fan, Shorty, and
yeah, right.
You are dedicated, and you're on the board, and the road that runs next to the stadium, the Carolina Stadium, the road next to it is Buccaneer Way. If you're on that commission, you have a way to fix it and change that so it's Carolina Way or Panther Avenue or whatever. Is there any way that you're voting against changing and getting your team rival's name off the street that your stadium is located on?
Absolutely not. I would definitely change that in a heartbeat.
I can't believe when I read this, I'm like, not only did you have the opportunity, but your own city's planning commission, even though they've done it 6 years ago, they said, you know what, we're going to keep it Chicago Avenue. That's
maybe there's some kind of significance behind that specific street. I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of like historic thing. You never know.
I don't know. The Vikings, the stadium cost them $1.1 billion.
Yeah, but how much more will it cost to change the street name?
All you got to do is just change the sign and get approved by the city, and then eventually Google and everybody else will update it. I can't imagine it actually costing anything. And even so, I'm sure that the owner or the board for the Minnesota Vikings would be willing to pay for that change if worse comes to worse, or the boosters of somebody. I couldn't imagine it being that serious of an issue. The Chicago Bears are tweeting it and everything else. They loving this stuff. I just can't imagine what the Minnesota Vikings did to this board of commission. Did they not include them into people getting the revenue out of the stadium being there? I'm not quite sure, but I just can't see how this board that works for the city, that a $1.1 billion stadium that is going to only improve the revenue in that area because of all the upgrades that I'm sure that area got for this. How could you not be willing, especially since them being from that area, they've got to be fans of this team, at least some of them. How do you not be willing to get your rival's name off the street that you're located on?
You got to also understand something else. I mean, they're not the only ones on that street. There are probably hundreds of businesses on that street with business cards and flyers and all that, and every single one of them will have to change their address on all their stuff. It's not just about who, that stadium is on that street. There are multiple other businesses on that street, and some of them are small businesses, and they don't have that luxury of just being able to go out and change the address on their stuff.
You know what I would do? As the owner of that daggone team, I would go down to I'd make up a petition and have every business sign it saying that they have no problem with the name change because they are supporting their home team. And I dare any of those businesses to say, you know what, I don't want to sign that petition because then, therefore, I will never promote your business and nor will I anything to do with your business. So, yes, I would be strong-arming everybody on the street. But I guarantee you, in all seriousness, I guarantee you, if an owner, especially knowing that what the revenue that comes in for all those businesses up and down that street because of that stadium, I guarantee if they made a petition, if that was something that was holding up, was the concern of that, I guarantee almost every business on that street would go ahead and sign off that petition just to show support for their team and knowing what it means to have that stadium right there and what it's going to do to their business anyway. I mean, I give you that, though. You are a voice of reason. I would have never thought, what about everybody else that's on that street? Now they got to change all their business cards and change all their information online and in phone books and everything else, and I never would have thought about that. That is a lot to ask of everybody up and down that road, but I would be more than willing to bet more than anything that if the Minnesota Vikings front board went up and down every business and asked them, just to simply knowing the increase in revenue they're about to make with that stadium being there versus where it was at prior, I don't think that any of them would really have a problem with changing it. I really don't. I just know it'd be, I agree it's going to be a lot of work, but.
I mean, they knew what the name of the road was when they initially started building that stadium. When they decided, hey, I want to put this right here, they knew what the name of that stadium was. They could have chose somewhere else to put the stadium. They chose it. That's their problem. That's their stupidity. They shouldn't have put it on freaking Chicago Avenue. That was dumb on their part. Not everybody else doesn't have to pay the consequences because they chose to put their stadium right there. I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm sure the businesses that are on that street will be, profiting from the stadium being there because normally, go eat or drink before they get to the stadium because the outrageous prices. So restaurants and, businesses on that road will be profiting.
And also to your point, though, those that didn't get tickets for the game, you're going to have a lot of those that are going to go to those bars and businesses and watch the game right outside the stadium That way they're right there when everybody, comes out of the game, if your team wins and everything else. So not only, are this business going to be fluctuated with, customers because of before the game activities, if it's a gift shop or if it's a bar or if it's a restaurant or whatever the case may be. But then you also got to think that traffic that's going to be there for all those games, especially away games, because then there's, either you go and hang out with everybody down by the stadium, where everybody normally hangs out for the Sunday games, or, you stay at home, so, because there's no game, no game in the field. So you got all that traffic that I'm sure going to still come out to their favorite spots on Sundays to watch the game that normally go down there anyway that don't have tickets. So, there's a lot of pluses about that. And, I've seen different studies and different statistics, especially when LeBron left Cleveland. You can see the fluctuation of businesses and ticket sales and everything else just with the whole LeBron factor. And how it affected all the businesses around it, and how instantly when he came back, how much that affected all those businesses right around the stadium. But what's even more humorous to me about this is the fact that every time the Chicago Bears come to visit to play the Minnesota Vikings, that has got to be something that is going to, I don't know, at least for the first couple of years, be something that is I'm sure tweeted and photoshopped and everything else and just kind of thrown in their face, at least until either they get it changed or it just finally gets old. And who knows when it'll ever get old. There's still stuff that teams throw in front of, Mark Sanchez. Here we are, a handful of years later, and the butt fumble every year still gets brought up. So I'm sure that the fact that the new stadium being on Chicago Avenue is going to be something that the Chicago Bears are going to be able to throw in their face.
Use as leverage? Like I said, they knew what the name of the street was when they decided to start building on that street. It's kind of baffling to me that they chose to build their stadium on Chicago Avenue and then wanted to complain about it afterwards.
You would have thought
baffling to me.
You would have thought that before they made that stadium, built that stadium there, that they would have gone to the board and like, look, this is where we want to build a stadium, but this is Chicago Avenue. Is there any way, if we're willing to invest and put $1 billion stadium here, will you guys change the name of the road? And if they said no, then I would have looked for other pieces of land. If it's that, that serious, which to me, I'm not going to say it's that serious, but I am going to say it's that serious because that's your rival. That's I don't know. I'm sure you could have found somewhere else in this put a stadium. So that's
well,
one
heck,
of those
I
things.
mean, going down to Homestead, every track that I've been to with you, the track has been, pretty close to town. It took a few minutes to get there. The Homestead track, it was way, way, way out in the middle of nowhere. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be on, a main road or whatever. Homestead is in the middle of nowhere. So,
yeah,
I mean, if they were looking... I'm growling at you.
In all actuality, most of the tracks aren't, in the city, and, for a reason, because of the noise ordering. And some are a little bit closer, but really none of them are really in, the city. They're kind of on somebody's big piece of land that NASCAR had bought or that particular track had bought. I wouldn't, really kind of say. I agree that the Homestead track was kind of even farther out there. Either way we went, you still kind of had to go back road for quite a bit to get to it. But
yeah, remember when I drove the second day? And I went the wrong way. Then I got stuck in traffic for an hour longer.
Yes, not just the wrong way, but the long way. That I tried to tell her the whole daggone time, this is the way we need to go. Oh, no, we're going to go this way. Yeah, and it took us an hour longer to get into the track and everything else. It was just...
Yeah, then I had to fib a little bit to get my photo vest.
Yes, because you were late. Speaking of NASCAR, I know that you work all day Sunday, so for you to catch a race, it's really hard.
Yeah, especially since after you watch the race, you delete it.
I didn't delete the last one. It's still on there. I think the last two might actually be on there, but. You work a long shift on Sunday, and not that I don't, but yours is a midday shift, like the 12 to 8, 12 to 10. Fortunately for me, mine's a 5 to 3, 5 to 4. So especially like the last 2 weeks, the race started about when I was getting off work, and so I got the opportunity to go to your house and watch it on DVR and be able to skip the commercials to the so that by the end of the race I was about caught up with it. And unfortunately for you, by the time you get home, by the time you get unwound with the kids and everything else, it's bedtime. Then Monday's a whole other long day, and then now you done heard about everything, and it's just here nor there. But
ironically enough, I don't know who won the last two races.
Ironically enough.
Yeah, you said by the time I get home, it's already, blah, blah, Monday.
Oh, I know what I said. I'm trying to remember who won 2 races ago now. I think it was Jimmy Johnson. And I know last week was Kevin Harvick. It seemed like Jimmy Johnson won 2 weeks ago. I know Jimmy Johnson won a race. Yeah, and I can't remember who won Atlanta. Maybe it was flip-flop. Maybe he won Atlanta. Either way, Jimmy Johnson's won a race, but I can't remember who it was that who won Las Vegas. Like that, it seems like it was Jimmy Johnson, but I'm probably wrong on that. I am wrong on it. It was Keselowski that ended up winning Las Vegas, and Jimmy Johnson probably won Atlanta. Anyway, Kevin Harvick won this last weekend, and I know that when I've watched the races, Shorty might not know all the details. I don't know if I even told her who won this race. Other than I told her the fact that when I text her that it was the closest finish in Phoenix history for the Sprint Cup Series. And so Shorty knows that the truck race ended with cars flipping. She knows that Daytona came down to the closest finish in Daytona history. She knows that week 2 that they come to the checkered beating and banging. Keselowski end up, strategy at Las Vegas. It was Keselowski. And then this week they come beating and banging with the closest finish. You've been to the tracks, and you've sat and watched many races with me. And Shorty's gone with me to Daytona. Last year we went down to, not last year, no, it wasn't last year, it was the year before. We went down for the Coke 0400, and then she went with me to the Kentucky track. She's been with me at the Homestead track.
I swear I feel like there was one more.
It does. That's why I can't sit there trying to think if there was one more. I don't think you've been to Bristol with me.
No, because Bristol's the one that's like the infield is like super tiny, right?
Yeah. You didn't go to Charlotte with me.
No, I maybe it might only be the 2 that the 3, but the 2 that I went with. I don't know. I feel like it was more than just that, but I don't know. Anyways.
But you've been to the tracks, and you've watched many races with me. Now, I was looking at an article before I came on the air, and they're talking about the fact that NASCAR, once again, the TV ratings are sinking. The overnight ratings are in for the Good Sam's 500, last week's race, and viewership was down another 5%. It was down, it went from 3.8 now to 3.6 on the rating. Another 6-year low, lowest non-weather delayed board rate since Fox started broadcasting NASCAR. After massive ratings drops in the Daytona 500, 15%, and Atlanta, 28%, the 5% drop for Las Vegas and Phoenix does seem like an improvement You can't ignore that on the track that NASCAR is putting out there now is as good as it's been in years, but it's not translating into viewers. Now, with this new low force package, we have seen some of the best racing. We have seen some of the closest racing that we have seen in a very long time. The drivers love this. There's not a single fan that I've spoke to that does not like the action that we are seeing on it, the strategy and everything else, to include the fact that now the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series have their own chase, now to the fact that the Truck Series has this caution clock thing, so we're guaranteed to have a break in the action and pit strategy play into effect at least every 20 minutes, either by its own caution sometime in there or at the 20-minute mark. So there's a lot of things that NASCAR has done to make this sport be is about as interesting as it could possibly be. Like I said, I cannot recall any 4 races starting off a season that has been more exciting, closer, door-banging actions that I've seen this year. And I'm not understanding. I can't possibly, for the life of me, grasp my brain around why the ratings keep dropping. Now, you've had an opportunity to watch many races. You've had an opportunity to be at many tracks. What have you seen that NASCAR can do to help promote viewers into this sport? I mean, they got the Drive for Diversity program, so now we're seeing all nationalities, both sexes out there, and all types of series out there, to include up to the Sprint Cup series. They have all these different series that are getting television time on NBC, with NBC Sports picking up the ARCA series and KN Pro series. We get more exposure to these drivers and an opportunity to start, having a favorite in these series and watch them develop. They're constantly improving the rules of the sport to make it as competitive as possible. They've even shrunk the field down to 40 cars. 2 of the races, when we ended up having 39 cars, pretty much got rid of all those starting parts and everybody was getting in the way, and giving us the best quality drivers that we could possibly get. I can't figure out what they need to do to change, maybe other than not have to listen to Jeff Gordon, Dale Waltrip, and Michael Waltrip up there. Maybe get Larry, Matt, Mike Joy, and somebody else. That might help. That's a good possibility, because those 3 really you'd rather mute it half the time to listen to them talk. But Shorty, what else can NASCAR do? What would you, the races you've been to, or the races you sat down and watched, have you recalled at any point there's anything you thought to yourself, God, I wish they would do this. It would make it more interesting, or God, I wish this would happen.
No, I like everything that they do. I don't really like the whole restart thing they just started with, but other than that, I enjoy watching the races. Maybe, I like the restart thing. I like the new hold on, sorry. Maybe not put them at, church time on Sunday. Some people don't get out of church till after the race already starts.
That's what the DVR is for. That's
you said what?
I said that's what DVR is for. Most races don't start until probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock anyway, at the earliest. West Coast time, the 3:30, so it's a little bit earlier in the day. It might be noonish out in California or whatever. And yes, those that, in the West Coast, it's kind of a disadvantage when it started at 11 or 1:30, 2 o'clock our time. That's 10:30, 11 o'clock their time. And so, again, that kind of stuff for those out at the West Coast, but that's always been something that has always been there anyway. So that's no reason for the numbers to be decreasing, because that's always been. And back then, I would assume it would have been even harder to get the ratings, because back then people actually went to church, and it was more of this country was more of a godly country than now, whatever you want to call this insanity that we have that we know is USA right now. But
it's hell.
I just
this is literally hell on earth.
I can't wrap my mind around how this sport and the ratings. Like I said, the only thing that I could see different is, we could do with less Darrell Waltrip, Marco Waltrip, and Jeff Gordon. And I'm sorry, Jeff Gordon 4 races into the season, and I'm already begging for less of him as well. But to have 2 races in the first 4 that come down and was the closest finish in those races' history, with cars banging off each other coming to the finish, and then the Jimmy Johnson and the Keselowski race that were about strategy and one had problems with loose wheels. The other one had, this last week had problems with melting beads and tires falling off. And I don't know. I don't know what the I don't know what this sport could do to make it any more interesting. I mean, they went Talladega Nights and made everybody stop at the 4th turn on the last lap and get out and go streaking down to the finish line. I don't know. I don't know what NASCAR could do. I mean, we're seeing the closest finishes. We're seeing drivers actually have to be drivers with this new downforce package. We're actually seeing who's actually a skilled driver. For those that ain't real drivers, they're suffering right now. They're not used to this. I don't know what NASCAR could do any different to change the opinion of the fans.
They keep changing rules. The fans liked it the way it was.
But it wasn't good
when the ratings were up. When they started changing the rules and started, adding this rule and adding this rule, that's when the ratings went down. I'm not really sure what rules they changed, but essentially they were changing.
It's only made this sport better. Like, there's not a single rule that was a bad change.
The restart rule.
Oh, not even the restart rule.
I feel like the restart rule is, the whole one lap thing is stupid.
Why?
Because I mean, if somebody has a good restart and they've been running in second or third the whole time, and the person out front has been going and going and going that was in first initially, and somebody behind somebody back in the very back of the pack screwed up and caused a caution, the driver that was in first place shouldn't have to be penalized because somebody else screwed up. I feel like that's essentially what they're doing, is penalizing the first driver, because if somebody could lead the for instance, Kevin Harvick could be leading the race the entire race. I mean, not the entire race, but like he could be the lap leader or whatever, and one restart at the very end of the race, and say Jimmy Johnson just happens to be in third or second, and just happens to get a better restart, and he crosses the black and white checker first. I feel like that's a little crappy, because Harvick's been the leader the entire time, and somebody in the back screwed it all up and screwed him over.
I mean, they got to be on their P's and Q's. I mean, that's all part of the sport.
P's and Q's?
P's and Q's. You got to be the best when it comes to restart.
Yeah, but
that's
obviously, if he was leading the race the entire time, he was, and then somebody else screwed it up for him. I'm sorry. I feel like it's it's kind of gambling with livelihood. It's pretty much gambling with their livelihood. It's not fair. It's not fair for them to be busting their butts the whole race long, and then 1 second it all gets taken away because of somebody else's mistake. I feel like they should give at least 10 laps extra.
10 laps.
Not
extra.
that. Well, I mean, it all depends on the on the track. I don't know. You don't have to agree with what I say. Obviously,
I'm not going to agree with you.
I'm obviously on the show so that you'll have some kind of contradictions to what you say. I mean, when do I not argue with what you say?
That's one of those things. So, I'm definitely not going to agree.
And that's your decision. And you're never going to agree with me because you can never admit the two wrongs. It's okay, though. I know you're wrong. Hello? Are you there? CJ?
I'm here.
CJ, can you hear me? I'm just playing. I know you're there. We got 21 minutes. 20 minutes.
I got 20 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Before the show, and I want to update the Cleveland Cavalier fans out there, we held on to win. Sadly enough, we were up by like 20 points in the third, and we won by 1 point. And 99 to 98,
wow.
The Cleveland Cavaliers did able to hold on at home to beat the Dallas Mavericks.
Wow. Well, I mean, Dallas, they're the ones that initially beat Golden State, right?
No, Milwaukee was the first team to take them down. Dallas has beat Golden State this year, but...
Oh, I thought they were the first one.
Barry Bonds, 51 years old, wins home run contest among the Marlins. I'll tell you what, Barry Bonds still
beat the entire team.
The home run king.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many people that pisses off when he's referred to as the home run king. Before the show, we were talking a little bit about Mike Wallace, and I talked about it yesterday, the fact that Mike Wallace left the Minnesota Vikings. He had no plans of ever re-signing with the Minnesota Vikings, that he wanted to go to a team that had a good quarterback. Basically, he didn't want to play with the garbage known as Teddy Bridgewater, that he wanted somebody that was established, good, and someone like Joe Flacco. And not only, as it was pointed out by Shorty, not only did that happen, he actually turned down money. He could have made more money staying with Minnesota, but he decided to take his talents to Baltimore. Throw insult history by taking it out of the quarterback. Now also the I'm not going to say the figures from the contract, but to know that he's taking a pay cut to play for Baltimore versus Minnesota, that is even more humorous to me.
His reasonings were, when you think of Baltimore, you think of, what was his words? He said, when you think of Baltimore, you think of defense, you think of crap. Like, I had it all in my head of what he said. something about, like, you think of champions or something like that. I don't remember. What did he say? I had all of it in my head the entire time. For the last, 2 hours, I remembered exactly what he said, and then now I can't remember what he said. Like, he was, he was all about some Baltimore and tradition. He said, you think of tradition. And as soon as he said that about Baltimore, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, tradition. And, he was saying all these, great things about Baltimore, and all I could think of was how Baltimore screwed Cleveland.
I don't know. It's just too humorous to me, because that's how I've preached about Teddy Bridgewater ever since he was in Louisville. And just to hear Mike Wallace say that, then just to know that not only he wanted a real quarterback, but to know he's taken a pay cut, I just really, really find that humorous. Last year we got the opportunity to watch the Oakland Raiders. I'm not going to say surprise us. There's a lot of talent on that team, and they had a pretty decent year, just short of a 500 record kind of year. And especially as tough as Kansas City, and then of course our Super Bowl champions, the different Broncos played. It was next to impossible for them to be able to get a wild card opportunity, but they did good, and especially as young as they are. Amari Cooper, first round draft pick, put up
they did well.
Great numbers. Yeah, rookie season. Derek Carr coming into his own, just a few years under his belt. Michael Crabtree, they kind of took a chance with him, and he proved that he still had it and was going to be a veteran leader for that team. Just a lot of great things. Defense played good, and I was all in on the fact that going into this offseason,
played well.
Couple pieces, maybe a piece offense or two, piece defense or two, and now you have AFC West contending team. But reports are out. Not only do we have a great quarterback and some talented receivers, not only is this defense continuously getting better, but Raiders might rival Cowboys for NFL's best offensive line now. The Oakland Raiders made a late-night, early-morning deal with left tackle Donald Penn, and now have ensured they're set up front. How set? Maybe the best in the league set. That's right, Dallas Cowboy fans, my email address is blah, blah, blah. The Cowboys enter the season because they continually as having the best offensive line in the game. That horse has been beaten quite a bit, and for a good reason. They essentially have 6 starters, 2, Ronaldo Leary, good enough to start for more teams. But upon closer inspection, the Cowboys might not be as dominant as advertised, and the Raiders might now be set up to pass them. I tell you what, to see this offensive line, to see what this team has been putting together, and to know that Derek Carr is going to be protected and have an opportunity to be able to wait and have an opportunity to wait until Michael Crabtree gets open, or even more of a deadly threat, Amari Cooper gets open, to know that their running back is going to have holes probably big enough to drive a Cadillac through. This Oakland Raiders team might really turn some serious heads this season. And I can't wait to be able to speak, because not only is this Oakland Raiders team getting better and better in this offseason, Denver's done fell apart. When you go from having Peyton Manning as your Super Bowl winning quarterback, and you got Brock Osweiler, who was you all thought was going to be your starting quarterback and won many games, and that was supposed to be your future. You go from having both of those to now Mark Sanchez, as you look like to be your starting quarterback. You're no longer in the conversation of playoffs.
Nope.
And I can't wait to see.
But I mean, they knew that. They essentially knew that when they originally signed Peyton Manning. They knew that he was going to be retiring within the next 10 years. How long has he been? I can't remember how long Peyton Manning was in Denver. He was only there for a few years, right?
Seems like it was
3 or 4.
At least 4.
Yeah, I mean, they knew he would be retiring within 10 years.
In fact, back 4 years, because he accomplished touchdown-wise almost as many touchdowns, or not that many less touchdowns. But what he did in 4 years with Denver compared to what he did 13 years in Indianapolis, those numbers is what blew me away, because his numbers were extremely high in Denver, but they were so pass heavy while he was there. They were setting records half the time that he was there. So it was 4 years in Denver, and they knew this day was coming, and that's what Brock Osweiler was in place for. Was for that day when he was going to retire. They just were caught with their pants down when Brock Osweiler said, you know what, I'm going to take that 4-year, $72 million deal versus the 3-year, $45.5 you're offering me. And so that left Denver butt out without a legitimate starting quarterback. And honestly, they still don't really have a legitimate starting quarterback. They just got Mark Sanchez. Just so they have somebody to say, just so they have a name to say, hey, this is going to be our starting quarterback right now. But I am really curious to see how this Denver team holds up, but more specifically how this helps Oakland kind of gain momentum. Now San Diego, it's hard to tell what San Diego's doing. I thought so much more highly of them beginning of last year than where they finished at. As a matter of fact, I thought that was going to be their division to win, and I thought Peyton Manning was going to continue to kind of decrease in production, which he did, but that defense was stout all year long and helped Denver get through it all. Kansas City, I thought that they were going to slump, and originally they did until Jamal Charles got hurt, and all of a sudden they won like 10 or 12 straight. And then Oakland, I didn't think that they were ready to be even when they finished that this year. I thought they were still a couple more years away from even being to around 500 record. So I thought it was San Diego's to lose, and San Diego just didn't want it. I don't know what was up with that. So knowing that the Oakland Raiders have probably what is the best offensive line and probably have probably in top 5 conversation of deadly duo threat at the wide receiver position, Derek Carr, who's a gunslinger and a smart quarterback, this and the defense playing as good as it did last year, this Oakland team is going to be tough, and it's going to be fun to watch, especially the way that West is all shifting around right now.
Yep. It kind of took me a little bit by surprise, that last season. I mean, the season before was like a very, very crappy season for them. I remember, doing football pools, and anytime I seen Oakland, I immediately highlighted the other team, unless, of course, it was Jacksonville or something. I was like, I don't know which one to choose. They're both so bad. But Oakland is definitely, stepping up this game a little bit, and I'm excited to see where they, take this season. But Cleveland picked up an inside linebacker. Demario Davis pretty good?
Who did we sign?
Demario Davis to a 2-year contract. He made 51 starts over the past 4 years for the Jets. He's going to be in the starting spot in the starting lineup for the team, and they're expecting to release Carlos Dansby.
We're getting rid of Dansby? That's kind of surprised on that. We went out and spent a little money on Dansby. An age veteran there, and kind of on the backside of his career, but I honestly thought we would have held on to him for another year or two before we went ahead and ship sail on that one.
Yeah, but he when he was interviewed, he was talking about how they're ready. He feels like Cleveland is ready to take their organization to in the right direction. He felt nothing but positive vibes from everybody, all the way down from the defensive coordinator to the head coach. He felt like this was going to be a good move for his family. So, I mean, at one point in time, I wanted to move to Ohio too. So.
It's funny that he says that, because no matter who you talk to, nobody sees a direction in Cleveland right now. They, and I talked a little bit about this last night. Once upon a time, it was only maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we had a top 5 defense. There was games we lost 9-6, 13-9, and it was not because the defense was only allowing 9 points, or the defense was only allowing 13 points. It was the offensive side of the ball that, even though our defense held them to 9 points, we was only scoring 6. Even though we only held them to 13 points, we was only scoring 9. We had no offense. We had a stellar defense. And it's like we made a couple bad draft picks, such as Brandon Wheat and Johnny Manziel, and now we don't even have hardly any of those. We don't even hardly have any of those defensive pieces that we were taking in the first round that were studs. And so we've kind of, even in this off season, we've kind of just laid over and let everybody leave, and now we're just starting to pick up some pieces, and it just amazes me that someone says they like the direction, because right now, any report you look at, there is no direction, and there is not a single position that we're probably not the worst at. I don't know.
Yes, they signed him, and he has been a pretty good linebacker in the past, but last year, compared to the last 2 years, he has, it wasn't a significant drop, but he only had 90 tackles in the 2015 season compared to 2013, 2014, of where he had, way over 100. So, yes, he, is still an okay linebacker, but he's also, he's getting older and not as effective in the game as he was in the previous, 2 years, as he was last year. So, because, he's a good player, but he's a good player for Cleveland, not necessarily a good player for the Patriots or now Oakland, because Oakland's moving on up to the east side. Well, west side. No, Midwest. Anywho, or mid, north, center. But, like I said,
it just amazes me that someone says they see direction, because, I know he's excited about being a new team and getting a new contract and everything else, but There's not anybody
There's no
that
direction.
Yeah. So that's just entertaining to me. I was also glad to see that the Browns went ahead and cut Dwayne Bowe. We paid him $9 million to catch 5 balls all year last year. Almost pretty much got paid $2 million a catch. So I was glad to see that Cleveland went ahead and cut their losses on that very expensive, worthless project and decided to move on and reinvest that money into something else.
Yeah, I agree. Well, also in more news in Ohio, the Bengals re-signed defensive tackle Pat Sims.
They re-signed who now?
Pat Sims. The Bengals also signed starting safety George LaLoca. To a 5-year, $30 million deal, and brought back the cornerback Adam Pac-Man Jones on a 3-year deal. And cornerback Leon Hall and starting safety Reggie Nelson became free agents. It'd be interesting to see where they go.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't imagine being in the shoes of an athlete. But we've seen, Josh Gordon serve a year-plus suspension because he can't stop smoking weed, and it's like the third time that he's been suspended. I think it was 1 game, 4 games in a year. We would watch Johnny Manziel lose his opportunity in Cleveland because he can't stop drinking. We've seen different players get themselves in trouble because they can't handle not doing something as simply as either not smoking weed or not being an alcoholic or whatever the case may be. Now, we talked a little bit yesterday about Martavius Bryant of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who got a minimum of 1 year suspension for substance abuse. Now, there have been some reports come out saying that what he's doing has to do with dealing with depression. And, and I guess either his doctor, physicians, or somebody, spoke up and said something that he's working through a lot of stuff. And either obviously the Steelers organization don't believe it, or they did not know anything about this because they kind of bashed him, in the process, and basically letting us down, this, that, and the other. But it kind of brings me back to more specifically about these players. Could you imagine, playing a sport, and I believe that you might have played some kind of sport in growing up. Did you not?
Yes.
What was it that you played?
I played soccer.
That's what it was. Now, could you imagine having the opportunity
I
to be out there?
was also a cheerleader a little bit.
Could you imagine being having the opportunity to be out there with Hope Solo, Alex Morgan on the girls' soccer team, winning gold medals, winning the World Soccer Cup and all that stuff? Could you imagine having that opportunity?
No. I just like to be, the wall in the dressing room. I mean, what?
I was saying, I just couldn't imagine having an opportunity to have a career and playing in a sport and getting paid millions of dollars and say, you know what, this beer is too important to me, or this weed is too important for me. I would rather throw all this away and all the opportunities I got so I can go smoke my weed or drink my drink. I just couldn't imagine there ever being a second thought on that.
Ironically enough, I have an employee that, he doesn't play a sport, he doesn't do anything like that, but he got, I'm not necessarily caught, but he essentially got caught high at school. And I guess now at his school, if they find out that if they find any kind of drugs on you or in your car, you have to take this class, and it's like a 3-4 month class. And in this 3-4 month class, you get tested. You get tested 2 times, and they're random times. But some people luck out and they get tested both times at the beginning, and then some people they get tested once at the beginning and then once at the very end. And I was talking to him the other day, and he was, talking about how he can't wait to get out of this class because he just wants to go smoke and this and that, and he's already been in this class for a month and a half, 2 months. Like, his class is almost over, and I'm talking to him, and I don't have any problem with, people making their own decisions. If you want to go get high or if you want to go get drunk, do what you want. It's not my business. Just don't do it, on my clock. That's not my business. You should do it on your free time. But, I'm sitting there talking to him, and I'm like, you've already gone this long. You can see, you see that you can make it. You see that, it's not something that you need to have. So why don't you just go ahead and, stop doing it? And I was like, you've already stopped. You might as well just, stay on that path of not smoking. I was like, one day you're gonna graduate from high school. You're gonna go to college. You're gonna get a nice, good job, and with that, you're gonna have to be able to pass the drug test. And if you can't pass the drug test, then you're not gonna get a good job. And I was, I'm trying to, help them out. It's just some people it doesn't matter to them. They don't care about ruining the rest of their lives when, they can be high out of their mind for 2-3 hours. They just don't care. They're just, and that's essentially what Johnny Manziel is pretty much saying. I don't care about the rest of my life. I don't care about my family. I don't care about my job. I want to get high and I want to do whatever I want. And because I'm this, big famous, NFL quarterback, I can just do whatever I want. But what he is apparently failing to realize that you don't get to do whatever you want, and he's going. He wasn't a very good quarterback to begin with, but nobody, even if he did get his act together and he started, trying to clean up with the drinking and the partying, nobody wants to sign him. And nobody's going to take him seriously because he doesn't take himself seriously.
I just couldn't imagine having this opportunity.
Me either. I'm just throwing it all away.
Oh my goodness, I don't. I just really don't get it. You get an opportunity to make millions of dollars a year to play a game, and you just can't say, you know what, let me not smoke weed until I'm done at least. Well,
on a different note, so Eric Weedle, is that, what is it, Weddle? What is Weddle?
Ooh. Go on with the story.
Well, anyways. Huh?
I said go ahead and go on with the story.
All right, so I'll just call him Eric. I'll call him Eric Waddle. It doesn't say Waddle, but I want to call it Waddle. He played with San Diego for 9 seasons, 9 years. He just He's a 3-time Pro Bowl safety. He is now a member of the Baltimore Ravens. He took a physical and signed a 4-year contract, and he had this really, really, really long beard. And his beard is gone.
It's gone.
Yeah. Apparently he had to. Anyways, that's the actual story, though. Huh?
I said, where'd it go?
He had to cut it off. But he's super excited about, starting on a new team. I mean, he played with San Diego for 9 years. 9 seasons, 9 seasons equals 9 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he played with them for 9 years, and now he's moving to Baltimore. And he says he can't wait to get started. He can't wait to meet his teammates, to get ready for work, and hopefully bring them a championship. Did I even tell you who he was? Like what he was? Doesn't it tell me what he plays?
On a brighter note, I feel a little bit better about that Cleveland Cavalier.
Hold on. I'm not done with my story. He was... Sorry, my phone just cleared. All right. He excelled with the Chargers, but he knew his time was up after the team fined him $10,000 for watching his daughter's performance at a halftime show of a game. They kept him on the sideline with an injury he insisted was not serious, and barred him from flying with the team for the final season. He said the message was clear. It was hard to deal with every day, going to work at 4:30 in the morning, knowing that the organization doesn't want you after this year. It was hard to deal with. The only thing that got me through the season was my teammates. But it made me stronger. It made me humble. I think all those tough times brought me to this moment right now, to be a part of an amazing organization. Why does everybody keep calling Baltimore amazing or humble or, tradition?
Because they always add the Baltimore Colts in this conversation. That's the only reason. Not just because of the Baltimore Ravens, and obviously 2 championships since they've been the Baltimore Ravens also speaks a lot about this franchise. But you also got to think of the history that it also includes the Baltimore Colts when you talk about Baltimore.
Oh, I didn't know that the Colts were in Baltimore at one point. Anyways,
yep.
The Ravens were delighted to put him on the team. Put him on the team. He's expected to serve the last line of defense on a unit that has long carried a reputation for toughness. We have added a proven playmaker to our defense who will fit in well with the way the Ravens play. This was what Ozzie Newman, the general manager of the Ravens, said. The Ravens got better today. Baltimore cut safety Will Hill on Wednesday, although it was quite apparent that Whedon wasn't going to be fighting for a job. So he's a safety. Eric is going to make our team better in so many different ways as a player, as a person. It's about being appreciated. It's about being wanted. Last year was hard, he said. This was where I wanted to be, and they want me here. I know it's the right decision. I know it's going to be a special journey for us. I can't wait to be a part of it. I really can't. The whole beard thing said he said the reasoning for cutting his beard. He said, I was working out one morning and I got done and the beard was everywhere, sweat, water, who knows probably Bugs Bear. He said, I'm like, what am I doing? I look ridiculous right now. So I got rid of it. It was almost 3 years I had it, and it was awesome. I might have to bring it back now. I'm getting too many people asking about it. He said, but I get more kisses from my wife, so that's a plus.
No, I feel a little bit better about the Cleveland Cavaliers having an 18-point lead dwindle down to a 1-point loss. And the reason I feel a little bit better about that, Kyrie Irving scored 33 points and made a key steal in the closing seconds, leading the Cleveland Cavaliers without resting LeBron James to a 99-98 win over the Dallas Mavericks tonight. James was given the night off by Coach Lue as part of his plans to keep the Cleveland Cavaliers starters fresh for the playoffs. The Cavs hardly missed their star until the Mavericks stormed back from an 18-point deficit in the fourth quarter. So I feel a little bit better knowing that 18-point lead dwindled away because of the fact that LeBron was not even playing, and even encouraging the fact that they opened up to an 18-point lead over the Dallas Mavericks. Now, if they would have been able to hold on to it, that would have been even greater. But I do feel a little bit better knowing that it was a win, and it was a win without LeBron James, and it was against a good team, a playoff contending team. And I'm not going to say a team that we're going to see in the finals. It's either you're San Antonio or you're Golden State. That's the only two teams I'm expecting to see out of the West. And really, I'm only expecting to see Golden State. But that is encouraging to know that coming off the loss to Utah after the swing of winning like 6 or 7, kind of had me scratching my head, and then to see this tonight and see they did this all without LeBron James is a little bit more encouraging than wondering why the Cleveland Cavaliers let an 18-point lead dwindle down to a point win, and that was it.
Yeah, that definitely sounds a lot better. So apparently there was not exactly a fight. Crap, my phone. Not exactly a fight over him, but there was a little bit of a going back and forth between the lead running back in Denver. Apparently, Miami was trying to steal C.J. Anderson.
I was surprised when I did see the reports come in that C.J. Anderson was staying in Denver. There was a lot of reports saying otherwise, and so when the reports came in that C.J. Anderson, I think he went with a 4-year deal or a 4-year extension or whatever with the it's either 4 or 5 years, but I won't say 4 years with the Denver Broncos in Denver. Yeah, I was really shocked because I had heard so much other things and other reports saying that otherwise.
Well, it was because Denver Broncos general manager matched Miami's 4-year, $18 million offer to his lead running back on Tuesday. The move was a surprise coming as it did just 2 weeks after Elway placed a lower right of first. I don't know what that says. I don't know why I'm saying that. Anyways, the new Dolphin head coach Adam Gase, who was Denver's offensive coordinator in 2013-2014, he was trying to steal him because he knew he was good. That's why.
Well, not only that, the Miami Dolphins are losing Lamar Miller as well, and they got a void to fill. And honestly, I think that they honestly thought C.J. Anderson was coming their direction. I think that's why they wasn't really concerned about Miller going the direction that Miller went. And I think that all those plans just fell through. Now Miami, with the stout defensive line that they got, and the improvements they made in the offseason, adding Mario Williams to that line, that offense has got to be explosive. It's got to put up points on the board, and it's got to give not only Miami defense lead, but it's also got to give an opportunity to get those big guys off the field, because that front line is a pretty big line.
Yeah. Elway said, no, we're glad we got him tied up for 4 years. we found out that what his marketing value was. Obviously, he'd been Gaze here, so Gaze had interest in him. Miami as well as Chicago showed interest all over. Overall, when we looked at the package, we think it's a very fair package for what he's going to do. At first, Anderson wasn't happy about getting the lower tender, but on Tuesday he made his decision to stay.
It's obviously good for the Denver Broncos. That gives them one less thing to worry about. I think having to worry about finding a quarterback is enough on their plate. None alone trying to find a good running back to also help take ease off the new quarterback in a new system. So,
it's definitely better to have the experience of the lead quarterback or the lead running back with a new quarterback. Definitely make it a lot easier for the quarterback, especially I feel like as long as there are some players that are familiar with the starting players that are staying and are very familiar with the plays and all that to help the quarterback. I know it just made no sense. Got all word vomity.
How's it feel to be back on the air? It's for those that are kind of new to the 110 Nation Sports Show, Charlie used to come on quite frequently, probably about 7, 8 months ago or so, it seems like. I can't remember exactly when. And then we also had a show together for a few brief weeks, and we ended up pulling the plug on that. But there for a while, she came on the show quite frequently. And those that don't know a lot of the history of the 110 Nation, she's actually been around the company for a couple of years. At first, she would schedule the shows for us and post them onto the site, and we used to have all our shows.
On the contrary, at first, I used to come up to your job and get flyers.
Yeah, way back when we was we weren't even with the 110 Nation Sports Show back then. We was 110 Sports. I forget what we was back then. We was part of the Go Radio Network back then. That was one of the mergers.
I think so. You were something network because I was supposed to go follow you on Facebook and I never did. Well, I did eventually, but that
was one of the mistakes that I made in the 5 years. But yeah, she used to work where I currently work at now. So not the same store, but the same company. And she would hand out flyers. And as a matter of fact, I need to make some and put them up there with as many people coming in through our store now. But then she started hanging out, and she started scheduling the show. And back then we had a website that we put all the shows on. So we just send them to that site, and you can catch all the shows there instead of in all different platforms. We put them all on there, and however you wanted to watch it, but they would all be there. Versus you either had to go to Blog Talk Radio or go to Spreaker or go to SoundCloud. We would just have them all on one site, and it just got to the point that we were paying all this money to have this site, and everybody was just catching it either live or catching on the platforms that they were on anyway. So we were kind of paying for a website that it got some traffic, but not enough. It was worth it when we was already paying for the Blog Talk Radio account and the Spreaker account and everything else, and you can just go for there that we're already paying for anyway, or just go to our fan page and just catch the link there and you'll be able to watch it that way as well, or listen to it that way. And then after a while, she got to the point that she would either hang out in the studio, or if she wasn't there, she would call in. And like I said, we eventually had our own show. So, how's it feel to be back on the air and be able to sit and talk and I don't know, get away from the world?
It feels normal.
Feels normal.
I mean, I can talk, so I feel like this. I feel like today I'm talking a lot more than I usually have.
Yeah, you have talked more tonight than a lot of nights we've had you on the show, and that's
hell, I was even growling at you.
There's been a lot of times that either we had her on, we would have her on we have a 30-minute block, and Shorty and I would start off the show, and then we would be on for 30 minutes together, and then that would lead into the next guest and the next guest, and either I'd finish it off by myself, or maybe she would come back on for the last part, or we would have a third guest that show. And there was a couple times that Shorty was part of having the guests on. I think she was on with Sarah Cornett-Ching once, and one of the football players once. I don't know if he was actually on with any other guests, and she helped with that. I think she might have been on with one of the guys as well. Maybe
with quite a few guests.
Yeah.
I've been on with quite a few of them.
So that was so it didn't allow. I'm not gonna say it didn't allow, but it didn't leave a lot of time for Shorty to be able to talk. So it's been kind of different because so far this has been like an hour straight, just her and I, and just kind of kicking around topics that have been going around today, and just topics in general that are out there. And so I think tonight has been one of those nights that you've probably talked more than other times you've been on the show.
So, Kevin Durant. It's Kevin, right?
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is going to be a free agent after this year, or after the season.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he is thinking about going to the Celtics. He said, I like the city a lot. It's cold, but they love sports here. It's a family atmosphere, I feel when I walk around the city. So, yeah, I like it a lot. The fans, while the Oklahoma and Celtic game was going on, were chanting, Durant, come to Boston. It'll be interesting to see where Durant goes in the next season. What do you think?
It will be. I would be shocked if he stays there. Honestly, I think the only way that Durant is going to stay in Oklahoma is they got to bring
more money.
No, he makes a crap ton of money. He makes max contracts. What needs to happen is they either need to bring another superstar to go with him in Westbrook, and deepen the bench a little bit, or what they really need to do is add two really, really good players. I think that's the only way he stays in Oklahoma. Him and Westbrook are not, I'm not going to say good enough because they're both phenomenal players. They're not deep enough. Two players cannot win you a championship. And ultimately what ends up happening is either one of them gets hurt or they just get fatigued because it's just two of them with a bunch of subpar players out there. That team is not deep enough, and unless Oklahoma can be very aggressive in this offseason and give Durant a reason to want to stay, Durant, I can't see him staying. I wouldn't stay, especially if I won a championship. He's going to get money. He's got endorsements. Money is not an issue. I just, him and Westbrook, I just can't see, I just can't see either one of them wanting to stay, because outside of you being the focus of the whole city and the whole league talking about what you two are doing, when it matters, it all falls apart because they can't go. There's a reason why San Antonio and Greg Popovich rest their players. There's a reason why LeBron James got rested tonight, because when it matters, these teams that are deep, they're going to have their rest. They're going to be energized. They're going to be able to do this. Kevin Durant, Westbrook, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're not deep enough to do that. And so where these other teams got an opportunity to rest these players and be a little more fresh, Oklahoma doesn't have that opportunity. And them having to go foot to the floor to even get into the playoffs and get a good peak, all that does is just burn them out by the time they get to the playoffs. And they'll win some games. They'll probably get through the first round, maybe even the second round, but that's like to the extent of where they're going to go. NASCAR, and I thought this was interesting, NASCAR's highest paid drivers for 2016. Number 13, highest paid drivers for 2016. 13th on the list is Joey Logano. Total earnings $11.4 million. That's to be salary winnings of $9.7, endorsement and licensing $1.7 million. Number 12 on this list is Brad Keselowski, his teammate, which is going to be $11.3 million. That was a jump down, so that means Joey Logano was number one at $11.3 million. I'm gonna skip to the next one. Casey Kane. Yeah, that must be 11.3. Casey Kane, $11.7 million. He's number 11 on this list. Expected to make $10.3 million in salary and $1.5 million in endorsement licensing. Licensing. Matt Kenseth drops at the 10th spot this year for 2016, making $11.9 million. I tell you what, I didn't realize they make this kind of money. We talk about baseball players and football players and the money they make, and obviously it doesn't equivalent to the amount of money. You know, we could break down these football players, and they're making $1 million a game. And now, obviously, on $12 million on 36 races, you're not making that kind of money. But they still make a pretty good living, $11.9 million a year to race cars. Carl Edwards comes in at your 9th spot, $12.1 million. I'm dying to know who the top 5 is and what kind of money they're making. Number 8 on this list. Oh, speed up.
I hate to cut this short. My phone's operating system is not responding, and it's since I kind of need my operating system to function my phone.
Gotcha.
I need to get off so I can restore it back to factory settings or figure out what I'm going to do with my phone.
All right. You have a great night.
Well,
and
it was fabulous. It was fabulous hanging out in the studio with you, Mr. CJ.
Yes,
I would like, I can't wait to do this again next week if, you have time for me.
We will definitely make some room for you.
I'm thinking I might be going to Walmart to go get a new phone in a few minutes. So, yeah.
Must be nice to have like that.
Oh,
All
yeah.
Right, I'll talk to you later.
It's funny because a little birdie told me when I
got to finish up my list. Can't listen to a little birdie. Wow, Tony Stewart makes this list number 8, $12.8 million. I guess is one of the perks of being a team owner and / still going to drive at some point of this year. But $9.8 million salary, $3 million in endorsements and licensing. Danica Patrick, number 7 on this list. She's going to make $13.4 million this year. We'll continue to personal sponsor of Patrick's along with our GoDaddy will continue to be a personal sponsor along with 10 other brands like Chevrolet, Coca-Cola, Nationwide, and Tassat, not to include the Nature's Bakery that covers 28 of the 36 races this year. Kyle Busch will be number 6 on the list, making $15 million this year. Busch missed 11 races to start the 2015 season with a broken leg and foot, but delivered to the end of the season to capture the title. The win was worth $3.4 million bonus for Busch and his team. Kyle and his brother Kurt Busch, 2004 champion, joined the Lebanis as the only brothers to win titles. Busch ranked number 5 for merchandise sales last season. Number 5 on this list. Wow, I'm kind of surprised. Denny Hamlin, top 5 on the list. I guess that long relationship with FedEx obviously is going to help pay off. Hamlin added a natural endorsement deal with Denny's restaurant in a partnership called Denny's. Other Harvick personal sponsors include Coca-Cola, Toyota, Green Beer Research, and Nike's Jordan brand. Kevin Harvick, number 4 on this list. $15.5 million expected to be made in 2016. Personal sponsors to include Chevrolet, Budweiser, Bad Boy Buggies, Hunt Brothers Pizza, Morton Buildings, Wiley X Sunglasses, Cessna and Greenlee. Harvick's merchandise sales ranked 3rd last year behind only Earnhardt and Gore, and his winnings were tops in the sport at $11.7 million. Winnings are shared with his team, 2014 Series champion. Jeff Gordon is expected. How does this work? He ain't got no daggone. Still got a salary. This must be based off of 2000. Why does it say 2016? Should be high at 15. He made total earnings of $21.2 million. He had $14.6 million in salary earnings, endorsement license 7. Gordon was one of 4 drivers with a shot at the Sprint Cup title in the final race of 2015, but he couldn't complete the storybook ending to his career. Gordon retires with 4 Cup titles and 93 wins overall. Gordon's licensed merchandise income got a boost during his final season. Next stop, the Fox broadcast booth as an analyst, of course. Second highest paid driver was Jimmy Johnson at $22.2 million. The 6-time NASCAR Sprint Cup champion signed a 2-year contract extension in September through the 2017 season. Lowe's is also on board for another 2 years. Johnson first piloted the Lowe's number 48 in October of 2001. The partnership has produced 75 Sprint Cup wins. And the number 1, of course, if there's a horse, there's got to be Dale Jr. Total earnings last year, $23.5 million. 15 in earnings and salary and winnings, 8.5 in endorsements and licensing. Earnhardt's licensed merchandise sales are tops in the sport. His biggest endorsement partner include Nationwide, Axalta, TaxSlayer, Goody, Chevrolet, and Wrangler. The 2-time Daytona 500 winner was voted NASCAR's most popular driver in 2015, of course, for the 13th straight year. Don't get it, people. Don't get it. I got ideas coming left and right. I got messages coming every direction all at once. Looks like we got some good news on some advertising end of the deal on a billboard on a game. And Miss Lee's in the background trying to come up with some ideas. Yes, we're going to do something special for our 5-year anniversary. And Miss Lee's throwing out ideas while I'm trying to do this, but I don't want her to think that I'm neglecting her. Looks like I'm going to be going to the storage unit and getting some goodies out of the out of the storage. I got a bunch. I probably got 2 boxes full of stuff that we have designated for giveaways that I pick up at random places that are still boxes and still sealed, and shot glasses. I think I got Smoke and Harvick and probably somebody else's merchandise, Gordon stuff, Johnson stuff, Baltimore Raiders, a whole bunch of there's some collectible stuff, Yankees collectible stuff. There's a whole bunch of a little bit of everything. So looks like I might have to be making a trip to get some goodies, or we might be buying some goodies to give some fans for our 5-year anniversary coming up here in a month. So definitely, if you've not liked our fan page, make sure you go over to 110 Nation Sports and check out our fan page and we would love to. There you go, Miss Lee. And I shouldn't be rambling while you're doing that show. LOL. Yeah, I'm supposed to be forbidden. I'm supposed to be forbidden from reading comments and having conversations while I'm on the show. And one of the people that's supposed to be forbidding me to do it is the person actually messaging me right now, throwing out these ideas. But we're definitely going to do something for our 5-year anniversary. And we would love to hit 1,000 likes. And so if you've not liked our fan page, make sure that you go over and find us on Facebook, 110 Nation Sports. Give us a like. Like I said, I think right now we're at 823, so we got ways to go. We're not even anywhere close to hitting the goal that we want, that we would love to have hit. You're looking at like 6 likes a day, and that's going to be some remarkable campaigning to make that happen, and you know we'll try to figure a way, but we would really love to start off and by our 5th year anniversary have 1,000 likes. So go over there, like us, spread the word, let everybody else know. If we can hit 1,000 likes, we're going to have 5 straight days of giving something away. That's what we're going to do. And so that's what we're going to that's what we're going to shoot for. So if you're listening to the show, we got 177 likes away from hitting 1,000. We got April 15th, 2016. Let's get right there, our born date, 2011 when we started all this off. But April 15th, 2016 will be our 5-year mark. We would like to have 1,000. If we can hit 1,000 likes by the time we hit 5 years old, we're going to have something to give away 5 straight days. If it be, a jersey, or if it happens to be a T-shirt or a hat or a collector's item, whatever we dig up, whatever we get together, maybe we can pull a couple things from a couple different drivers, and maybe we'll put a post on there asking, help and support from any of the businesses that want to get involved. That we got a bunch of people that follow us and like us that have their own businesses and their own race teams and everything else. Maybe we can pull a little something in and make it really fun for those 5 days. But we got to hit 1,000 likes. So, like I said, if you're out there and, like I said, no matter how you catch the show, no matter You catch us here, but a little bit later on Spreaker. If you catch it later when it gets published on Stitcher, which usually both of those happen within the hour after we're done with the show. iTunes as well. If you're catching it now or catching it the replay on PTR, it don't matter if you catch it on SoundCloud. I have that on there here about an hour as well. It don't matter if you're catching this Thursday over on the I-95 Sports Radio Network. Shout out to you guys. Make sure you guys follow those guys on Facebook. However you catch this show, make sure you jump over, check us out on Facebook, 110 Nation Sports. We hit 1,000 likes. We got a little something for 5 days that we're going to give out. What better way to start off, dude? After talking at the beginning of the show, how I was amazed at how much money I spent, even though this was my least amount of year. Last year, 2015, was the least amount of money I spent. Still almost got into double-digit thousands there. Even though that's just got past the wow factor doing my taxes. Let's go ahead and get 2016 started off the same way. Let's have a little giveaway. And, I've already thrown, $500 in the sponsorship for a great cause this Saturday, Seek to Destroy Cancer event. Make sure you guys are there. If you guys are in the Fayetteville area, make sure you guys check out the Seek to Destroy Cancer event. Fayetteville here in North Carolina. If you got any questions, hit me up on Twitter, @CJSports1. Hit me up on Facebook, my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. Help come out and help support a great cause, raising money to find a cure for this particular strand of cancer that is affecting a lot of people's lives. Make sure you guys show the support on there. But got no issues with putting a little something together, a little care package from the 110 Nation if we can hit that 1,000 likes. So make sure you guys check that out and help us out. Also, make sure that you check out the 110 Nation Sports Show Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Great time every time. Usually we have a lot more guests. This week we kind of in a down. We kind of went in a kind of stealth mode this last week. Miss Lee's making some contacts and working out some things. We're gonna have some guests coming on next week. But it was just one of those weeks that everybody was booked and so much going on. So we just kind of. It's kind of why Shorty jumped on the show and was hanging out, and she listens to the show a lot of nights behind the scenes. But she decided she would come on and give me someone to have someone to talk to with me on the show tonight. Racing with Big Sweat, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Great lineup this week. Very, very excited. We got Amber Balkan coming on the show. Amber has been on the 110 Nation Sports Show 3 times, I want to say. We talented driver from Canada. Love having her on the show. Ball of energy. Just a lot of fun to have on the show. Also, Steve has Tyler Sistrup. He has been on the Racing with Big Sweat a few times. He is a Dirt Street Stock driver. Very talented. Loved having him on the show. And then they also have K&N Pro Series West driver Jesse Iwanji. I want to say that's how you pronounce it. He's got a video right now. It's gone viral. Where he makes this little, I want to say it was a little girl. He's a little boy or a little girl. I can't remember. I think it was 4 years old. I want to say it was a she that has cancer. And it might have been a little boy. I can't remember. I know I've seen the video. Just makes this little kid's life, kind of one of those, make-a-wish kind of situations, and not knowing from day to day, this tough kid battling this, this terminal illness. Jesse gives him an opportunity to be in a NASCAR, and kid loved it. And we get an opportunity to have him on tomorrow night as well. Just looking great opportunity tomorrow night. Great show, 3 per guest. A show you do not want to miss. Don't forget to also Saturdays noon we got Happy Hour Garage. Those ladies, Miss Shannon and Miss Maureen, put on a phenomenal show. Got some great interviews for you to listen to on Saturday. Sunday night, 9 p.m. We're right back here. With the Dirt Talk Hour. I get to hang out in the studio. They asked, my only mission in the whole show is to watch the studio and produce it. kind of what I do for Racing with Big Sweat. I kind of interact with Steve in between his guests a lot of times, so I'll probably be on when Amber's on the show because I have this personal, well, not personal, but a good relationship with her many times she's been on my show. But my only three missions in the Dirt Talk Hour show is answer the phone lines, produce the show, and I got to tell them what I learned from that night's show. So make sure you guys check it out, hour long, the highest rated show we got on the network right now. Make sure you guys check that out. And don't forget, Monday night, 7 p.m., we got Rubbing Us Racing. Steve Billmeyer and myself back at here. We'll be wrapping up the prior weekend in NASCAR. Love having the opportunity of sitting down and talking with Steve, Big Sweat Billmeyer, and recapping the previous weekend in the NASCAR world. So make sure you guys check those out. Check me out on Twitter at CJSports1, the 110 Nation, at 110 Nation. Also, check us out on Facebook. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, our fan page, 110 Nation Sports. We got a month. We got to start crack-a-lacking. If we're going to hit it, we got to go full force now. Make sure you guys check that out. Also, check out my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. You can check out our blog site, www.110nationsports.com, and also check out our company site, www.110nation.com, for all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. Got to thank Shorty for joining me tonight. Had a blast having her in the studio tonight and be able to talk to her. It's been a while since we've done that. It was great to see there was really no bumps in the road. It was like good old days. So looking forward to having her back in the studio next week. She works on Mondays and Thursdays. That's why she was only in for a minute last night, and that's why she only did tonight. She only is able to listen to the shows on Mondays and Thursdays. She can't actually call in. She don't get off till after the show is even over with. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to hanging out, getting things kicked off tomorrow with our super shows. Of course, on the Spreaker side, we get things started off with the 110 Nation Sports Show, then we combine shows and hang out with those guys over there with Racing with Big Sweat. There you go. Wow, I just drew a blank. So looking forward to that. Friday night, back at it here at the 110 Nation Sports Show, just a regular edition of it. So looking forward to it. I can't wait to be talking to you guys again. You guys have a great night, and make sure you guys here tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show with Mr. CJ Sports. You are a part of the 110 Nation, so be sure to visit the110nation.com for everything related to the show. You can follow CJ on Twitter at 110 Nation and on Facebook at 110 Nation Sports. Until next time.
Hey, it's me, your house talking. You know, to make me really happy, go to Lowe's and get some tools to fix me up. They have the widest selection with the right tools for every job. You do that for me, I'll give you back those socks you've been looking for. And maybe your sunglasses. But not the watch. The watch is mine now.
Make your home happy all season long and go to Lowe's for great deals, like a free Cobalt 80-volt max battery via rebate with purchase of Cobalt string trimmer, blower, or chainsaw. Offer valid 3/9 through 3/31 on select Cobalt products. See store for details, U.S. only.